You just struck a chord with me now. Phonics. Why?
Every parent's worst nightmare.
Why?
Because you don't read the letter name.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Rashpa.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
How's the day been so far?
It's been really good, yeah. It's been exciting to get some of those ideas that were always flicking around your head, really get them out there into the world.
Into fruition. First time in the studio?
First time.
Was it what you expected? Was it different? Was it good, bad or ugly?
I think you really outlined how today was going to go with me prior to me arriving. I knew exactly what I was going to wear, exactly how the day was going to be split up. Obviously provided lunch, which was exquisite, chef's kiss.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I can't take credit for the food. That's courtesy of Mum. So thanks, Mum. But with regards to everything else, yeah, I'm glad the day was. There's been no surprises. That's the main thing. I think helps us stay focused on what the agenda of the day is, capturing as much content as possible for our viewers, for our listeners. What do you do? Where do you do it? And why do you do what you do?
Absolutely. So I own a company called Tutor Doctor, Lancaster and Morecambe. And as it says on the tin, our location is at Lancaster and Morecambe in the UK. We provide one-to-one tutoring services for families all around our local area. Those are typically in-home tutoring sessions, and it can vary. We work with children as young as primary school, anywhere from year 2 upwards, all the way to A-level. We can support anybody who feels like they've really lost learning from COVID. There has been a huge impact from COVID on the education system. Typically, children are 2 years below where they should be because of missing out those 2 years and all those fundamentals, and it's being seen all the way through the education system. Children who were babies have missed out on all that nursery and social interaction. Children in primary school have missed out either on all the Key Stage 1 interactive learning and hands-on education. Children in Key Stage 2 have missed out those real foundations of English and maths, sentence structuring, and it's just followed all the way from there. So we're really there to support any of those gaps that are happening, to support all those families in need.
Now, from the little information I know about tutoring in general, and about after the few conversations we've had as well, you tutor quite a wide age range. However, are there any specific milestones that you really cater for?
So there's 2 specific milestones that we cater for here at Tutor Doctor. Those are going to be the 11 plus, which are the oldest primary school children, year 5, year 6 children. We're taking the 11 plus to get into a grammar school, high school for year 7. And of course, the dreaded GCSE years. So children working with those students, really. They're not children anymore, are they? Sure. At GCSE level, students working with those year 10 and 11 for those GCSEs.
11 plus SATs and GCSE students. Yeah. At what point for either? And do you look at them in the same kind of manner, or do you treat them quite differently with regards to working out what is ideal as an education plan, as a tutoring plan for children? Is it 6 weeks, 6 months or longer? Yeah,
I think it's really interesting, people's perception of tutoring. Some people come to me and think, oh, it's just a quick fix. I'll have 4 hours of tutoring and we'll be absolutely fine. That's not a recommendation that we would be making at all. Typically for both 11 plus and for GCSEs, in an ideal world, we'd be talking 2 years prior to taking those exams. On a less intense level for a primary school child, because you've obviously got to take age into account there. We would be recommending 1 session a week from middle of year 4, year 5, all the way to them taking those, should I say, because there's 3 to 4 exams for the entrance exam 11 plus. And then when it comes to GCSEs, again, 2 years prior is a great time to start. And that would depend on which subjects they were particularly struggling with. So that could be 2 to 3 sessions per week. And those 2 to 3 sessions will be in independent subjects. So there might be 1 session per week in maths, 1 session per week in physics, 1 session per week in geography, for example.
Now, I assume you cover all the GCSE subjects.
We would. Yeah. We cover all the GCSE subjects and try as much as we can to cover all the different exam boards as well.
So obviously you're treating it as a marathon, not a sprint, consistent small steps. What kind of investment will that cost? Because I'm sure money comes really high up in the priority of whether is it even affordable.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad you've used that word investment there, because it absolutely is an investment in your child's education. We work with families. Obviously, as I explained, it depends on how many sessions per week we're doing and what an intensive amount of program we put together for you. In terms of price, we're talking anywhere between a couple of hundred per month, all the way up to, nearing the thousands for a more intensive program for different subjects.
It's a considered investment. However, I suppose there's going to be a way to calculate return on investment. If my children were going to go through or approaching the GCSEs, what could I expect from Tutor Doctor? And why would I want to choose Tutor Doctor yourself over maybe an independent or somebody else that can just give my son that support?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely two questions there to unpick. So number one is, why would I do tutoring? And it's really interesting. Obviously, starting this tutoring business has allowed me to reach so many people that I would have never spoken to before. And an awful lot of families that I speak to say, oh, I had tutoring when I was younger, and it really helped me. We talk in as small as upping a grade, but that can really be the difference between a pass and a fail. Mm-hmm. Students come to us, they're working around about a grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 is that pass mark. So we're upping those children 1, possibly 2 grades to be able to complete that pass grade. Mm-hmm. That pass grade then opens doors to their future. It allows them to make decisions as opposed to decisions being made for them. If they want to carry on with their education, go to college, go to university. They might want to do an apprenticeship, going hands-on, but you need those qualifications in the future. It could be the difference between your child being a plumber and your child owning a plumbing business. That's really how breadth we can go with that, which is why it is an investment in your child's immediate future, but in the long-term future as well.
Wow.
The other question you also asked is, why use Tutor Doctor? So there are many benefits of using Tutor Doctor as an independent company to provide private tuition through. The number one benefit is me. You get access to me 7 days a week. I can be that go-between. I'm able to organise payments, plans for you. I come in and do the consultations and also oversee that tutoring process. I match up my tutors specifically with the family's needs and goals. Of course, subject matter, but personality as well is really important for me. That's why one of our key values is our tutor matching process. Receiving tutoring from somebody that you like and get along with can make the whole world of difference, and I've seen that firsthand. Another great way of using Tutor Doctor as a company is the flexibility that it gives you. Should there any chance be that the tutor can't commit anymore, maybe they've got a change in circumstance, they change locations, get a new job. Using Tutor Doctor as the company, I will replace that tutor, no problem at all. You don't have to then start from scratch, go out, find a tutor. All the legwork is done for you. DBS, that safeguarding is incredibly important. References, ensuring that those tutors really do know what they're doing, really are able to deliver sessions effectively to your child's learning needs. Not only that they're subject matter experts, but they can deliver that content at an appropriate level to your child is incredibly important for us.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. I remember my son went through his GCSEs last year and we looked for tutors. And in the end, the school he was studying at, we spoke to his English teacher. That's where he needed more support, and just said, look, we don't mind even paying you. Can you give him extra sessions? And we managed to negotiate something that worked out perfectly for him. But that was after going out and looking for a tutor. Now, the challenge, we found 2 or 3 outfits that we spoke to, and I don't remember actually speaking to a doctor. So I'm sure they are in Leeds, but I don't remember coming across them. But out of all of them, I remember one experience in particular. We got in touch with them. They said, come down, we need to do some kind of test, get a gauge on where he is and where his gaps are so we can work out that plan for him. But there was a bit of a breakdown in communication, because I very clearly communicated that he's dyslexic, and when he got to the test, went through the test, it was only at the end of the test that the teacher going through the test realized, are you dyslexic? Because it didn't get communicated from the person I spoke to the person that delivered that on the day. Which was a bit disappointing, really, because that's really important. And if there's a breakdown of communication right up front, then it doesn't leave that much confidence further on down the line. And that's what really forced us, me and my wife, Jagdeep, to really think about, I'd rather Damanvir stay in an environment he's already comfortable with. He already knows the teacher and vice versa. So a second ago, when you said that we match the child with a particular tutor, that really resonated with me, because it rewind my thoughts to that exact scenario, which was, had we not gone back to the school, or the school didn't give us an option, we would have been forced to maybe take one of these tutors on, but not given us a great deal of confidence that we would have got the tutor that Damanvir really needs. That was nice to hear that you match the right tutor with the right child, which I'll also add on, because if I remember back to my school days, the best memories are from school. And if you don't enjoy your school journey, that school experience, and that's a real shame.
It's a real shame. When I come across students, particularly older later on in high school, and I say to them, tell me about how it is in maths, boring. And it fills my heart with sadness, because as an educator, you know, regardless of the age, I want children to have that love for learning is so important. And that's what we can provide in these sessions. That's why I ask the student about their academic needs, but I ask them about them. Tell me, how else do you fill your days? You might be a really keen rock climber, might be really into a specific sport, or could be anything, gaming, anime, all these sorts of wonderful ways to keep you occupied outside school. We would match a tutor with similar interests. Just because you're learning about English doesn't mean it can't be related to rock climbing or anime. Let's use these
extracurricular?
Those extracurricular activities that the child is already engaged with, in a way to help be fun and engaging.
Absolutely. And I think it's really interesting. I learned something, and this is once again through my son. So throughout my school years, when I studied, I had to be in a quiet environment, no disturbances. I could read, I could write, especially creative writing. You've got to let your mind drift, and then you can capture them thoughts and put them to paper. That's how I would work. And I found it really bizarre that my son needed white noise. And even though I knew white noise from my industry and from my business experience and what I do as a media person, but I never thought that the sound of rain in the background could help somebody else bring focus to the work they were doing. So I found that quite fascinating, quite interesting, really. So coming back to the other aspects of Tutor Doctor, we've covered what makes you special. We've covered, obviously, your motivation, that there's a passion in there to help children. What makes you different? Why should we pick you?
It's the student-centric, holistic approach to learning, which is at the forefront of my mind with every single family I meet. I want to know everything about you. I want to know your family circumstances, backgrounds. If the child is older, are we at home often independently? Who's in charge of homework? Is it mum? Is it dad? Is it grandparents? I want to know how busy you are during the week. I want to know what your interests are. I want to know what
you're becoming part of the family.
I really do. Sometimes I move in, Rashpal. There's been a couple of families where I've nearly sat down and had tea together. I'm telling you, learning about their learning style is really important. One of the families that we're working with at the moment is an auditory learner, and I think it's something that's talked about but not something that's tapped into as effectively as it can be. One of our students that we're with at the minute, everything is through dictaphone. Everything is recorded. We're using mnemonics and short songs to remember elements in the periodic table, because as an auditory learner they need to hear these, and they also have a look for music as well. So combining those interests and that learning style is making these sessions doubly beneficial for these families. So by having all that background information, I can recommend the best course of action for each family and each student. If you've got 5 extracurricular activities a week, I'm not going to go recommending that you add on another 4 hours of tutoring in the week, because you're just going to be too tired, too overstimulated to learn and to focus.
It's exhausting.
It is, absolutely. And again, we're losing that love for learning, which I will not ever let happen. I want to ignite that love for learning, not lose it.
So then I suppose the conversation is about priorities, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We split them up in here at Tutor Doctor with, we call them alpha and beta tasks. And both are equally important. Alpha tasks directly link to academic success, such as homework, assignments, revision. And beta tasks are those tasks that make life worth living. Going to climbing, swimming, hockey,
Sports.
Going to your friends going to the cinema, going to your friends on a Friday night. Those are really important. If we didn't have those in our lives, we wouldn't feel fulfilled. And it's about managing that time correctly and appropriately.
Just rewind me before, Tutor Doctor, what got you into this world? What were you doing before? Was it here? Was it abroad? Tell me about your story.
Yeah, I was one of those lucky children, I'm afraid, from about the age of 8. I knew exactly what I wanted to be.
Wow.
And I wanted to be a teacher. That's exactly what
Really?
I did. Yeah,
Wow.
I really did. I was able to choose my GCSEs and particularly my A-levels so that they were appropriate for taking an education degree. I volunteered in lots of different primary schools, in nurseries. Older children were always a little bit terrifying at that age. I stuck to the little ones and went and did a primary education degree. I was lucky enough straight out of university to work in a wonderful school back home where I used to live in Huddersfield, and I taught there for a number of years, surrounded in the British education system. And then there was a little niggle at me that maybe I want to explore this a little bit further, and I was able to then, with my education degree, travel around the world. It was an incredible experience. I worked and taught in Southeast Asia, then again over in the Caribbean, which was a phenomenal experience and something which opened my eyes to different people, different cultures, different backgrounds, the way people perceive teachers. I remember once being in Thailand and I was able to go to the zoo for free because I was a teacher.
Wow.
Because that's how highly regarded we are. Yeah, we are in Thailand. Just absolutely blew my mind. And then I was lucky enough to go and teach internationally at school in China, a school which is affiliated with a school here in England. They opened an international school out in China. So teaching the British curriculum, teaching British values over in Shenzhen, which was the world's most amazing experience.
And how long were you in China for?
I was in China
awesome.
for 2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
That was before lockdown, during lockdown?
Before and during, unfortunately.
Wow, what an experience.
That was, a whole different experience being in a new country. My Mandarin is terrible, I'm afraid. Yeah, getting around, particularly during a pandemic. But again, we made it work, and we made sure that children weren't like England was doing, make sure that children were not missing out on a quality education, and we tried our best.
So I'm going to slightly digress. Is it true that in China there's no WhatsApp and there's no...
It's very true, I'm afraid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what's the equivalent to YouTube first?
Oh, WeChat. Oh,
WhatsApp is WeChat.
WeChat, but WeChat is everything.
Yeah, it's super powerful, isn't it?
WeChat is life.
Wow.
If you don't have Weishi, then you're not getting around China, I'm afraid.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a combination of everything. Yeah. So there's like a wall, like on Facebook, suppose, that you can post on.
Yeah, sure.
There's also like TikTok Reels that you can post videos on and also comment on everyone's pictures. But yeah, no social media.
Wow.
Which is just...
You don't have Facebook?
Mind-blowing.
It's just WeChat. Yeah, everything is WeChat.
Everything is WeChat.
Wow. No YouTube?
Barcodes everywhere.
Barcodes everywhere.
Barcodes everywhere. Wow. I've been into restaurants with nobody there. Walked into a restaurant. There's nobody there, nobody to greet you, nobody to take your order. You scan the app, order on the app, and a robot brings it to your table.
No way.
You take your food off.
That's it.
Enjoy your ramen and go. Yeah.
Bish, bash, bosh.
Great.
Wow. So we're 5th of December today.
Yeah.
Christmas is around the corner. Obviously, schools tend to slowly switch off now with regards to... It's a bit of a wind down. Christmas movies come out. People get relaxed. I remember my son telling me that, we watched a film at school today. And I'm thinking, what do we send you to school for? It's like, not to watch films.
Give the teachers a break, Rush Pal. It's a hard time of year.
So what does January mean for you?
So January is, I think, specific to Year 11 students, really, for us here at Tutor Doctor. We're talking it's the rundown to GCSEs. GCSEs are around the corner. Typically, students have taken mocks just before Christmas, or they're taking them as they're going straight back into Christmas. That leaves them a few months. GCSEs run anywhere from sort of May time, April, May, all the way through till June. So that's going to give us January, February, March, April, maybe 24th, we're probably starting. So we're talking 3 to 4 months. Now, I've said before, how long's a good time to start tutoring before my GCSEs? 2 years. And I'm getting phone calls even now, panicked parents. Oh, my GCSEs are around the corner, and I know I should have started in September. I probably should have started in year 10, but I haven't. Can you help me? Yes. Short answer is yes, of course. Of course we can help. The difference is that we're very time limited. Typically, I wouldn't recommend anybody doing tutoring for less than 12 weeks at a push. If we're doing 12 weeks, we're doing more than one session a week. 24, 48 sessions of tutoring is a very typical recommendation for tutoring, anywhere from 48 to 72 sessions of tutoring even. We haven't got that time luxury, unfortunately, right now. So what we would be looking at is a more intensive sessions, possibly 2 to 3 sessions a week for a shorter period of time. We would hope that the more intensive sessions for a shorter period of time can still support and make that impact, dependent on mock results. One's getting for that 4 or 5 pass grades, whether you're getting that 8, 9, you might have high college or university aspirations, whatever it is, 1 or 2 grades we need to be pushing up. January is your starting. Pick up that phone and book me in for a consultation to get you started as soon as we can. If not, find yourself a Doctor Who and whiz yourself back 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. My point being is, even in December, if you can get in touch in December.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would recommend. And that's what we're currently doing right now. These couple of weeks, jam-packed full of families that, having a consultation ready to start in January. Don't forget, there's that 10 to 14 days worth of tutor matching process. That takes time. It really does. Finding the correct tutor with the right background, the right subject knowledge, the right teaching styles, the right personality for your student. It doesn't just land in my lap in a day. It really does take time, and it takes my time and effort. So yeah, booking now for a consultation ready to start in January is ideal.
It's ideal. Wow. Pressure's on. So 2 weeks to find the right tutor.
Yeah.
And then obviously by that you've already worked out your, I suppose, action plan.
Yes, yeah, recommendation, the amount of hours, length of session, number of weeks, subjects, long-term, short-term goals. They're all worked out during the consultation.
How does it look like for 11 plus, for SATs?
For 11 plus, we would be talking the children in year 5 taking the 11 plus next September, so September 2023.
Sure.
Again, we're in a little bit of the same situation. You need to get a wiggle on. I'd be wanting to know how well they were doing at school. So when we're in primary school, lots of different schools assess children slightly differently, but we can often categorise them being at standard. Now that's national standard, not standard in the school or in the area, national standard, working towards standard, which means they're not quite reaching that, or working above standard. For a child wanting to take their 11 plus in September, we'd be wanting to at least be at standard, if not above standard. There's a reason why these exams are taken, is because the high schooling there, the schooling sessions are challenging, are at a higher level. So we want to make sure that it's not going to be a huge jump for them. So we'd want to be assessing where these children are, doing some practice tests with them. Typically we say if they're scoring anywhere between 75 to 85% on the practice tests, that could be the verbal reasoning, the English and the maths, then we're on track to pass the 11 plus. Anything below that would be a concern.
Other kind of tutoring outfits like Kumon, how are they similar, different? Do they Can you interweave that with what you're doing, or are they just totally different systems?
So a learning centre style is absolutely additional tuition. The difference with that is that those sessions are often shared between, now great, a very small number of students, could be 5 to 8 students. A huge difference with working with 30 kids in a class, 5 to 8 students. But again, you are still sharing 5 to 8 students with one teacher. We differ in that we are providing that one-to-one personalised tuition. If you think you work with a personal trainer in the gym, they're working with you one-on-one. They know your body type, they know your diet, they know how much exercise you do in the day, they know exactly what you've been doing previously, exactly where you're going to. That sole focus is on you. If you go to an exercise class where there's more people, there's not hundreds, but there's more people in the class, you're getting relatively individualized attention, but it's more a generalized attention. So I would say that's where we differ from a learning centre. Something that we also pride ourselves in, which can vary from centre to centre, is that we don't use schemes of work. That's really important, and that's part of particularly my philosophy as a teacher. Schemes of work can be great if used correctly, and I have seen time after time again schemes of work not being used correctly.
Okay.
This is lesson 1, we do lesson 1, we move on to lesson 2 because we've done lesson 1. Lesson 3, this child is 8, this book is for an 8-year-old child, we do lesson 1 for maths. That is just not the way we're built as humans. We're not
robots.
Textbook, no, exactly. We don't, just because we're in year 8 doesn't mean that we're at a year 8 level.
Absolutely.
There'll be all sorts of outside circumstances, particularly COVID, that have inhibited that. Could be missing some early number work, number bonds, and all those little phonics things that we do when we're little. And because of COVID, we weren't there and learning them.
You just struck a chord with me now. Phonics. Why?
Every parent's worst nightmare.
Why?
Because you don't read the letter name.
But my son doesn't understand. Why is there an L in should? And why is there a B in thumb?
That's not phonetic.
But when they taught phonetics with regards to this is how you spell, and they come home and there's so much effort in phonetics, it confuses them. That's the point.
This is why English is such a difficult language to learn, because we learn the generalized rules typically, and that's what we teach. We teach the generalized rule. When I'm teaching my year 3 children multiplication, I tell them you can't get less than 0. This is a teacher thing. We fib to them all the way through their lives. They get to year 4. What's a decimal? These are minus numbers. This is less than 0. My year 3 teacher told me we couldn't have less than 0.
Exactly. Disingenuous.
Yeah. We fib to them each year because it needs to be level appropriate.
Yeah.
So typically, children learn their phonics through the letter sounds.
Yeah.
The letter H makes the sound, because when you say hat, you don't say H-A-T, because those are the letter.
Of course.
Those are the letter names. You say.
So why do we have a PH to pronounce something that will have a F sound?
You want to take that up with the philosopher of the English language, I'm afraid.
But so that's why I suppose Americanized English in some cases is more logical. In some cases, I said. In some cases.
Okay.
And I suppose...
I'm going to let you carry on talking. I don't know where you're going here.
And I suppose Punjabi, which is the language that I read and write from a Sikh perspective, is all on phonetics.
Yeah.
So exactly how it sounds, that's how you write it. It's so simple.
It's very difficult. It's a very difficult language to learn. And the difficulty with our language is that we have rules, and then we have so many exceptions to the rules.
Exactly. Because then, exceptions to the rules is a very good way to describe it. Olivia, thank you for your time. I really appreciated the conversation. Really interesting to understand what motivates you. How amazing to live and work in China and then the Caribbean or the Caribbean. Definitely the Caribbean.
Definitely the Caribbean.
Yeah, same here. What an amazing experience. I think you'll add a load of culture, interest and excitement to the children that you tutor and you serve. So I wish you the best of luck going forwards. Keep in touch with me.
Yes.
Do pop back into the studio. I'd love to hear more about how business is developing, how it's growing.
Yeah, thank you.
And I wish you all the best. Just for everyone who's listening, for people that would need to get in touch with you, that are interested in maybe they've got some questions, they want some quick tips, or they want to actually engage with you because they might not be in the Lancaster Morecambe area. How do they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So probably one of the easiest ways is to go onto our website. So we're tutordoctor.co.uk/Lancaster-Morecambe. Possibly a word's longest
I was going to say
URL, but it's okay. We're sticking with it. And Morecambe, not one of the easiest words to spell, not phonetic. You could always give me a call if you wanted to call me directly on 1524 489 055. If you visit the website, there's a little survey on there. Pop your name, postcode in, phone number, best time for me to call you, and a little query. That'll come straight through to my inbox and I can get back to you as well.
Fantastic.
We're on Facebook.
Good.
Tutor Doctor Lancaster Morecambe, or we're on Instagram, TD_Lancaster_Morecambe as well. Everyone gets to learn how to spell Morecambe when they're looking for me.
Fantastic. I'll put all your social handles on in the notes below as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
And so anyone who wants to get in touch directly with you, Olivia, just click the link, get in touch, have the conversation. And just so I'm clear, as well as there might be a need for some tutoring, which is great, and hopefully that turns into business. If parents just want to ask questions and maybe get some tips,
give me a call.
Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
and I think parents have that worry.
Yeah.
If you come to me and you're saying to me, we talked about the 11 plus, my child they're above standard, they always have been, they're getting 90% on all the test papers for the 11 plus. Do I need tutoring? No. I'm a teacher first and foremost. I'm an educator.
Brilliant.
So you tell me your circumstance and I will recommend, first of all, whether or not you need tutoring or not. If that's the question, should I, shouldn't I? Let's talk about it. Let's have a chat about your circumstance. Where are they? Where do they need to be? And therefore, that'll answer our question, whether or not we need tutoring. Yeah, just a phone call is absolutely fine.
Fantastic.
Thanks
for sharing that. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Rashfal. It's been great. Thank you.
You're very welcome.